Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, May 24th. This is our last full week before we really head more into summer where kids are out of school. Not that they haven't been out of school an awful lot, but like not just out of school and doing school in your house, actually out of school. Headed out for that. And don't forget, next week is a shortened week to honor Memorial Day. Okay, let's take a look here. Here are the S&P futures. And we are still in this same range that we have been. We've talked about this range. Look at this. Look how flat the 20 is. That kind of tells you a lot about what's going on, which is not a lot of anything exciting. So how do we read this? Well, we have to wait and see. We can't just say, okay, well, maybe we're taking a pause before taking a leg higher. And there's a lot of people that will say, well, you know, this is it. We've reached the summit and we're getting ready to fall. Okay, maybe. But there's an awful lot of people out there that say just the opposite. We're just taking a break before heading up. No, maybe. This is why we wait and see. Always participate with the move and don't anticipate it, because it's the anticipation of it that really comes around and bites you in the keister. So we will continue to watch these levels here. And I drew in this lower level, so the 50 has been a pretty significant for us, and you can see this trend line. This I know I have a lot of trend lines on here, but I thought I'll just go ahead and remove this. Make it one less, makes it a little less messy, not very much. But this one right below the 50, we used it back here, and if you follow it back a bit, right? All the way back into here. So this is all the way back to October of last year. So we connected in October, we connected in March, and we have now connected here again in May. All right, so what does that mean? Well, this is just a level. It's a good area to keep an eye on, see if we keep bouncing this level. But what's important to notice about this is that it's an upward trajectory. So we are still, as of right now, in my mind, we're setting in a just a very stagnant period, which is terrible when you're in options, and it makes it very hard to trade during the day because it makes it very choppy, or well, even swing trading, right? Those shorter term swing trades, you get chopped out very quickly. It is incredibly aggravating. So if you feel like you just can't seem to grasp one thing or another, it's not just you, it's the market. We've had a lot of sector rotation as well. So we're fighting that. We're fighting some news and, you know, not consistent volume. We're kind of all over the map here. So it's not just you. If you're struggling with this, reach out and we will walk through maybe some other ways to set up trades. But look for what works for you. And if you're not sure what that is yet, then I'm going to just implore you to pick one strategy. Because here's what I think what happens. What we're doing isn't working. Or, you know, maybe you're like, well, I just made that was wrong. That decision was wrong. Maybe. Or maybe you had a good setup and you had your rules and it just didn't work. That's just part of trading, right? You can't, if you are the world's best pitcher, you're still not going to throw 100% strikes. So keep that in mind. Get your setup. Know what it is you want. Do you want to just play the 3-8 cross? Do you just want to play it when it's over the 20? Do you just want to use the 50? Do you just want to use VWAP? Whatever it is, pick one strategy. Maybe it's a combination of putting those together. It needs to be maybe above VWAP. We have to have a cross on a weekly, and you know, and the more things going in your favor as you start to kind of layer on those different strategies and techniques. Learn each one first. Don't just throw them all in a pot, because then you're going to end up with a mess. Layer each one first, learn how to use it, and then use it consistently. And that is what I feel is one of our biggest downfalls, is that we don't use them consistently. We don't say, okay, if we're getting in on a 3-8 cross, our stop out's going to be the 50, and then we get to the 50 and we don't stop out, right? That's an issue. Now, if that's not your strategy, that's okay. Not everybody has to have the same one. But don't constantly look and say, oh, well, Bob had a really good trade here, so I'm just going to follow him. Well, then I don't know, Barbara had a really good trade, so I'm going to follow her. No, wait a minute. Dave had a really good trade, so I'm going to follow him. No, wait a minute. No, Mark had a good one, so you're not going to get anywhere, right? So remember, the straightest distance between 2 points is a straight line. Trading isn't always a straight line, but we don't need to go out of our way to hit a lot of other points before we get to where we want to be. So be calm, be patient. If you sit here and you set up 3 or 4 different trades and they don't hit, close your screen and walk away. That's okay. That doesn't mean that you looked at it wrong. Maybe we get hit with some news today and those just don't set up. That's okay. Do it again tomorrow. It's the ones that you get in that do well that are important, not the ones that maybe either you missed or you were just mad because they didn't work out. Not all of them are going to work out. So be very patient, be very thoughtful, and understand that the market, when we don't have all of the movement during the day, we've had lower volume. You know, we've had some smaller candles that came in. It is hard to trade. It's not just you. So, okay, that is it on the ES and the overall market. But let's take a look at a few. Well, I'm going to try to. Of course, now my don't you just love when the charts just don't want to work? Oh, look at here's gold. Gold not really giving us much of a decision. Oh boy. I don't know why. There we go. Okay. So, oh, I've got Sherman under my feet this morning too. Okay, so let's take a look at a few here. You can see gold still kind of making its little climb, but I first want to talk about ones that we've been playing, and I'm actually in. So I'm in XLF. And it kind of just stalled out there, but I'm down about 20% on XLF. But then it came back and looked better on Friday. And maybe if you weren't in this, you know, we talked about where, you know, it was potentially a good time to get in because our 3 tagged up with our 8 really nicely and started pushing away. The financial sector overall, when in doubt, not really sure of the trend because we have kind of these funky days. Go back and look at your weekly charts and see what's actually going on, right? We keep pushing away. We keep pushing. And although we had a pretty big drawdown or pullback last week, we were still inside the previous weekly candle, and we fought our way right back up toward the top of that candle, not at the top, but toward it. So look for your overall trends on a longer time frame. Now, if you're a day trader and a minute-by-minute trader, totally understand. Just remember that people that are calling out those minute-by-minute trades, maybe they're watching only a 5-minute, only a 3-minute, only a 1-minute. That's not what a swing trader's probably looking at. And if you are, it might make you crazy. So just gonna throw that out there. But the financial sector's still looking very good here. And if you didn't get in XLF, and maybe you want to, today's maybe a very good day for that. I would kind of keep an eye on this overall trend line. Coming up over that is where I would look to enter XLF. But what makes up XLF? The financial sector. So take a look in here. Love the look of JPM. You see, this looks just like XLF. Love the look of JPM. Citigroup for a breakout here. I think that looks fantastic. Bank of America, another one looks a lot just like the XLF. We had that 3 tag up with the 8. Wells Fargo is one that isn't quite participating yet, right? I don't know why this one seems to not move quite the same as the rest, but keep an eye on this 20. Watch for a move where I push off the 20, pulling the 3 back up above the 8. Lots of nice room there, back up to that 48.13. So there's plenty of names within that sector that I think are good to watch. Okay, moving on. Roblox. Well, look at this monster day we had here. We built in a lot of volume on Friday, just looking for a continuation on this. Right now, I would be cautious with it. Because we don't have a lot of data, you can't draw a lot of trend lines on it, but it did pick up a lot of good flow on Friday. I'm watching the 716 Roblox. Now there's two different ones. So 85 is going to be in the money here when we open this morning. Oh, actually, no, it's not. Sorry. 85 is where I'm going to be looking. It's very close to popping up to that 85, but you can also look at the 100s. There is a lot of activity, but nothing in between. So I tend to stay a little bit closer to the money in that case. But I like Roblox here for a continuation. And if we do have that continuation and get in, maybe start looking to draw some trend lines and see maybe where we're about to peak out on it. And I would use a line kind of like this. All right, moving along. Sorry, that is just Sherman under my desk. He's been all over this morning. CVS. Hey, I was just here this over this weekend. We talked about this one last week as well. We had this nice bullish gap and an ascending flag here. Looking for continuation. We got a little quiet. We had an indecision candle. And we came back in on Friday. Moved up, not on a lot of volume. Being pretty quiet. So you just stop making noise. So watching CVS. Now these I'm pushing out to 820.95. Beyond here, actually hit the hit on my list here this morning on my movers list. So I went and took a little gander at it. It has a beautiful 3/8 cross confirmation today. And nice room here to the 20. We're sitting at 110.80 here as I speak. I would watch us here as we move to the 20. That'll be our next resistance, not just at the 20, but also our volume resistance. If we move through that nicely, some really nice room. I would say even past the 50 here up to about 130. So take a look at beyond the 820, 120s and beyond. For an equity play, a little smaller play, Apron. I know, who would have thought I would be calling out Apron? But Apron here has a very nice continuation after the 3/8, or the 3 crossing up over the 8. And those are just the moving averages I like. If you like a different set, use them. Just make sure you use them continually or consistently. So like the move even through that 20. There's not a lot of resistance here in the volume profile. So I think this has a lot of room to move. Again, nice little equity play potential. Viacom came up in the room last week. A few people kind of keeping an eye on that. And it closed over the 200. Today we are continuing that move. So I do like Viacom. It just got pummeled back here, right? And then stuck in this range. Look at all this volume. A lot of buyers coming in and buying it up here. So I like the look of this. And in Viacom, I would watch the 45 strike. How far out? Well, honestly, I think that August has about the best. There's a ton in June. But right now I would look out to August and I would look at that 45 strike. But across the 45 strike seems to be really good here. And then the other one, I know this is kind of a long video, I apologize. DDD, we have been talking about this one quite a bit here. DDD up over the 50 very nicely, made a nice move, and cleared out a lot of that resistance volume that we had seen in it. So still really like this. This keeps popping up on our list. And in DDD, their options are not really fantastic. So I'd be cautious because what you want to see is that bid and ask come together. Otherwise, you're really just paying a premium for it. We don't want that. But August 20th 30s are initially the ones I would take a look at here for some options or equity. Remember, if it's good enough for options, it's definitely good enough for equity here. Okay, that is it for me this morning. I hope you have a fantastic day. We're getting ready here for a fantastic week. For all of those who have graduations coming up, we have quite a few in our area. Congratulations to all of those graduates. Woohoo! and I hope you have an awesome day. It's a manic Monday. Let's see if we can, make it a little bit more calm.